Hello, everyone. Zachary King, also known as Zaspy, here, and I am going to talk about my suicide attempt over the summer and the second chance I got at life. So, where to begin? I've been dealing with depression for years. It first really sparked up during the summer of 2015 when I was 17 years old and had just gotten my first job. After I had gotten medication to combat that, I thought I could move past it because I just didn't feel it anymore. This summer showed me, however, just how wrong I was in that matter. At the start of May, as I was ending my first year of college, these thoughts slowly started to seep back into my brain and coalesce in my head. Like thoughts like I am worthless, I don't know who to trust, I should kill myself. Everyone will either not notice or forget me after a while. I was taken to the emergency room twice in May alone due to these thoughts and my postings on Facebook about potential suicide, which wasn't a very smart idea in the long run. I was let go both times, promising I wouldn't try to hurt myself, and that was even written down in paper. Little did I know I would do that just a month after my second ER visit. During the week leading up to the suicide, my dad was in the hospital and my suicidal thoughts were just eating away at me. They were growing stronger. I and my stepmother both felt the impact of that, and our emotions escalated until it made major tension between us. We had a lot of disagreements, and they eventually escalated to the point where my decision to kill myself was, made clear. When I got off duty, well, after things went way downhill with our disagreements, after I got off duty Thursday night, I found a text from both of my parents saying they felt it best that I move out as the family was being destroyed, according to my dad. Part of this was because I turned to Facebook to vent my frustrations during this fight, and that only lit the fuse even more so as my parents and friends could see me writing this stuff. But after hearing my own father telling me to move out, I decided that that was the final straw in my decision to kill myself. So, as soon as I woke up on Friday morning of June 23rd, I went into our pill cabinet while my dad was on a client call and I looked through his pills. I found one that I assumed was for his blood pressure, and I assumed correctly. I took 20 of those pills in my hand, ran upstairs, and I told my brothers to leave me be, and I posted that I was ready to kill myself. I then received uh, I then received several frantic messages from friends I rarely spoke to begging me not to do this. Some even tried voice chatting me constantly, and I refused to listen. Then a cousin I hadn't spoken to over a year contacted me and tried talking me out of it. And she called my bluff, telling me I wouldn't do it because of my family and my friends, and I love them too much. But what she didn't realize is that when she said that, I took that as a challenge, and I popped all the pills in response and told her she was wrong and goodbye, have a good life. And then I told all of Facebook that I had took the pills, and I told them all goodbye and have good lives. I locked myself in my room waiting for the pills to take effect, but not even 5 minutes of waiting, and my dad was banging on my door, threatening to kick it down. We got into an argument during which my dad said, "You know what? Fuck you. We're the problem. We're the bad guys." I then told him exactly which pills I took and how many, and I told him to just let me die. They eventually left and were about to call the cops when the cops actually arrived, having received phone calls from several of my friends. The police escorted me and they escorted me into the ambulance kindly and made sure I was safe, and I grabbed my electronics for the ride. When I got to the hospital, I realized I was becoming weaker and weaker by the second. I had IVs in both arms. I had a needle in my groin, one in my leg, and I had a catheter. I was practically immobilized for at least 2 days on my backside, my most uncomfortable side. Uh, I remember a friend calling on the phone asking if I was still alive, and I recognized that voice, and me and her still talk to this day. Upon my complete discharge, I was told by my parents that I almost fell into a coma. I was shocked by that because I was conscious for everything they were doing to me, especially when they were inserting needles into me. I also had to drink a mix called charcoal, which caused me to vomit everything out of my system for about 2 days, and I shudder when I remember the taste. It's worth noting my favorite pop is Dr. Pepper, but the aftertaste reminds me of the charcoal, so I haven't been able to drink it in a while. Uh, I have a very violent shudder when I remember that taste. My mother and father came to visit every day to check up on me, and one or two of those days, a cousin I hadn't seen in a while who was local to us came to see me. She proceeded to hold my hand, and she told me that I would get through this, and that it would all work out, all while watching me vomit and handing me the bucket in which I would vomit. Like my dad had received a Thumper plush doll during his chemotherapy back when he was 18, my Thumper was her in that moment. I was too weak to say much, but she gave me hope to keep going. I was sent to Mercy Hospital to receive psychiatric help, and I stayed there Monday through Friday after 4 days in the ICU. I remember during that Tuesday, as the nurse was checking up on me in bed, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I sobbed uncontrollably, and I told her my true feelings. I wished I was dead, and that I had taken double the dose I took the past Friday to ensure that. Later that day, my dad came in, and we cleared some things up as to what had happened that past week that led to my decision to commit suicide, and that put me at great ease. After getting out, after getting out that Friday, I thought that was the end of it, but sadly, I was mistaken. Late on Saturday, August 5th at work, when I was doing nothing, these thoughts started coming back. I told my coworkers about them, and I told them that I had just created a plan to attempt suicide again the following morning. The plan was to do exactly what I was doing while I was sobbing: take double the dose while my dad's back was turned, and then lock myself in my room and wait to die. Before I knew it, the cops were at the theater there to take me to the hospital. My stepmom followed, and she stayed there with me until 2:30 a.m. when I was transferred to Streamwood Hospital, and I really appreciate her for that. During my stay there, I made new friends, while some of the patients there unnerved me and drove me nuts, to be honest. They made me very uneasy. I was scheduled to be out that Friday, but after something I said to my therapist, my doctor told me that Friday that they extended my stay to Tuesday, which made me break down to tears, and I yelled I'd rather kill myself than stay there those 5 extra days. However, I was given a journal, and I was able to write out my thoughts, which eventually became posts on Zaspy upon my discharge that following Tuesday. And now I realize from both hospital stays that I am not done on this earth, and that I do have people who care about me. To all of you struggling with suicidal thoughts, whether you know me or not, please listen to me now. You are not worthless. You are not. And people care about you. Even if it's just one person, there's got to be one person that cares about you. You need to remember that. Suicide will only lead to suffering on both ends. I want you to fight for your life. I want you to stay alive, and you will find yourself shining better than you ever had. I believe in you just as I believe in myself. Thanks for following me on this journey. Have a wonderful life and have a wonderful day. Talk to you next time. Goodbye, everybody.